What's your plan for tomorrow? Are you a leader or will you follow? Are you a fighter or will you cower? It's our time to take back the power. What's your plan for tomorrow? Are you a leader or will you follow? Are you a fighter or will you cower? It's our time to take back the power. What you gonna do?
Hello, I'm Matt Bergman, and you're listening to episode 4 of the Punk Rock Libertarians podcast. I'm here tonight with Jeff Siegel and Jared Schneiderman. How's it going, guys?
Good
Pretty
evening.
good, man.
Cool. So, Jeff, you went to Colorado last week. How was that?
I did. It was great. I was at the Marijuana Investment Summit in Denver, and I have to tell you the coolest thing about one of the coolest things about the conference when I got there, and I went right to the expo hall. So if you ever go to a conference, you go to expo halls, and they have all these like booths set up and everything. The first thing I see is when I walk in are these grow lights and probably 24 plants just sitting under the grow lights. And it's just so bizarre living in Baltimore. Like you could never do that, obviously, but in Denver it's legal. So you walk in there and you see these grow lights and you see all this weed everywhere, and people are giving out samples of edibles, and it's just it kind of blew my mind a little bit. Not even the fact
that a little bit of a culture shock, would you say?
It was a total culture shock, and I wasn't even all excited about getting high or anything like that. I just was so excited about the fact that there were cops outside, just like any cop would be anywhere, but nobody was hassling anybody. You could go out where people got to have a smoke break outside. Most people were smoking cigarettes, but a few people would be smoking weed, and it's just like smoking a cigarette.
Right.
Huh. I thought it was really, really cool, and it was cool too. Just the fact that I got to meet a lot of businesses that are doing all kinds of things in the marijuana industry. It's really cool to see kind of this development of this new industry happening. And you go into this room, for the sessions, and it's not like a bunch of hippies and dreads and stuff.
Yeah.
You walk in, it's like fucking tax attorneys, accountants, entrepreneurs. It was legit, it's not a bunch of kids going, oh, I want to sell weed, It was very, very cool. A lot of big deals, $1 million deals going down. It was kind of cool to see the industry, from the inside. Yeah, I liked it.
Cool.
And I had a good time too. I enjoyed the fact that I got to go down to the dispensary, and I'd never been to a dispensary before. It's the first time I've ever gone.
They say you always remember your first time.
They did. I did. It hurt a little bit, but
oh really?
Did you bleed?
No. I'm not that horrible. Yeah. But no, I walked in, and it was funny because she asked me for my ID, and I thought she was asking for a medical thing. You have to have a prescription card, I guess, for if you have a prescription or whatever. And I was like, oh no, I'm just here to check it out. And she's like, I still need you to see your ID. I was like, my ID, like my regular, because you have to be 21, I guess. Oh yeah, no problem.
Right,
she kind of laughed
because you don't need a green card there, right? You can just go in.
You just go in like a bar.
Of age. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
And she laughed about it. And then it was cool because I went in there and it was a really nice place inside, and they were all really cool. I was talking to the girl behind the counter, asked her to explain some of the stuff to me because there are different types of edibles. And one thing I liked about the edibles was they had they would tell you how much is in it. So I bought these cookies, and each cookie is 10 grams, and there's 10 cookies in a box. And then they had gummy bears and say, okay, well these are 5 grams each or whatever.
5 grams of THC.
Yeah.
Right.
So and then she got the CBD.
5 grams of marijuana.
No, it was of marijuana with THC because they have the CBD too, which is not to get high. It's for medicinal purposes.
Oh, okay.
But it's a recreational spot, so basically people are there. Most people there to get high,
right.
because they wanted to.
Sure.
There was a back room. That's kind of funny now to think about. It's a back room for the medicinal stuff. Kind of back in the day, there's a back room for porn. It's like a back room for the medicinal stuff. I don't know if you take the medicinal stuff, you're in a separate.
So wait, is the medicinal a higher quantity, or is it just?
I really don't know. I just
what would separate medicinal? It's not like they do something.
Do you need a medicinal badge or something to get into the medicinal room?
I don't know. I really, really don't know. I didn't ask. There was a sign. It said, you need a prescription to come back here. So maybe it's different types and stuff. In the front area, they had jars.
It seems like a lot of regulation and control. If certain types, no, seriously, if certain types can be sold to sick people and certain types can't.
I don't. You know what? I can't really comment because I don't know why they have it separated.
Interesting.
That was weird. Yeah.
But all in all, it was a cool experience, And I bought my cookies and I went back to my hotel room and had some cookies. I met some cool people at the hotel. I shared some of my cookies with them because I didn't want to take them on the plane. And I thought about it for a second. I'm like, who's gonna really know? And I decided against it. And then when I got to the airport, there were like drug sniffing dogs everywhere. I was like, guess good thing I didn't bring it with me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I had that dilemma when I went out to L.A. We bought some medicinal marijuana and we were debating on, and we bought like cookies and we bought brownies. And we were debating on whether to like just bring it on the plane. We just ended up shipping it back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, because we didn't even consume like half of it, so it wasn't like we were gonna throw it out. So,
hey, but you know what? I just thought of
that. Helped you with that one?
No, FedEx, dude.
Oh, FedEx.
Props to FedEx.
You went private.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
for
man.
you. Good
Gotta
for
use
you.
the market.
Yeah.
Well, I just thought of that. What if I got there and I had the cookies with me, but I'm still in Denver? So
you mean in the airport?
Yeah, I mean, unless they have a law against it.
I mean, to be honest, if they even confiscated from, they'd probably just throw it out.
Yeah,
I mean, they're not
probably.
gonna fucking arrest you, probably.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't have gotten sodomized.
I mean, you might have gotten groped. But
Oh shit! I should have done it. No, I have to tell you this one cool story though. I was there, and there was a guy who was getting really, really loud in one of the sessions, and there was like a security guard there, and then a cop came in, and someone told me that he was getting high in the session, and apparently there's it's like you go into a restaurant or hotel and they say no smoking or whatever, so it's the same thing. Like a lot of hotels, like no smoking, tobacco, marijuana.
Yeah.
So the guy got really pissed off, and he's like, "I'm a reporter and this and that." So finally, the cop's like, "I got to take you outside because you're disrupting this conference." And
wait, why was he getting loud?
I don't know, like he was pissed off about something. And again, it's like someone told me because basically, I think because he wanted to get high inside and he couldn't.
Okay.
So they took him outside, and I talked to the cop later, and I was just like, kind of, backing off a little bit, but just I wanted to interview him in a kind of soft sell way, I guess. And I was just asking him, just like, is this something you see a lot? And what do you think? What are your thoughts about, pot being legal here? And he was like, I love it. He was just like, it's great. He's like, I don't have to spend time, hassling people over this stuff. He's like, I have more time to go after, real criminals. He really blew my mind. And he was telling me that most of the people that he works with feel the same way. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But then again, he fully admitted to many times going out and, busting people for, I don't know if they had a dime bag or something. And, he had to bust them because I guess that was his job. So, but
just following orders.
Yeah, he's just following orders. But it was interesting to know like his thoughts on that, saying, I'm cool. I think it's great. He's like, I don't have to spend my time with this, bullshit anymore. So,
right.
But yeah, I mean, I strongly suggest, man, if you go to Denver, man, it's a good time, and there's the dispensaries are great, and there's a lot of great restaurants nearby. So when I was stoned out of my mind, I went to this place called the Dessert Bar.
Oh my god!
And it was a really bad place for me to be at the time because I walked in there. The first thing I saw were these bacon wrapped date manchego cheese things,
Jesus.
And I was like, oh fuck, I need those. So they gave me that, and then there's like they make the desserts right in front of you. So there's like a little dessert bar, and they're making these like big waffles with the ice cream and the syrup and everything. And I was like, oh fuck, I need that. I needed a lot of stuff that night, and I spent a lot of money at that. I think I spent more money on the food than I did on the weed.
That's how they get you, man.
Yeah, I know. They just set me up as motherfuckers.
Yeah.
You guys ever been in Denver?
Nah, dude. I really want to get out there though. I mean, I've been out to L.A. where it's like semi-legal, but I really want to get out to Denver and just like check out that scene.
Yeah, I've
It just
never been
sounds so
there
cool.
myself.
I mean, not only just because of the weed shit, but like I've just heard like Colorado in general is just a cool place.
It is. It's very cool.
Home of the Descendants and the Blasting Room.
Nice.
It's like pretty cool. I think one of the coolest studios in punk rock, I'd say.
Awesome.
So
Jeff, why weren't you here last week, man? Why did you leave us hanging out to dry?
Well, because there were riots going on last week, and to everyone who's listening, I work downtown, and in order to get over here,
we had to call in Alexis Schlegel, dude.
Yeah,
to fill in, dude.
Sorry,
like
dude.
It was like the National Guard of the podcast.
Yeah, like he gets here, he rolls up with his pit bull, and he lifts up his shirt, and he's strapping heat. Yeah, dude. He was rolling hard, dude.
Yeah.
And I was strapping too, dude. We had to protect Jared.
From
Keep
what?
me safe, man. Gotta keep the golden egg, the golden goose.
Yeah, man.
No, man, I was not driving through West Baltimore that night. And I mean, I would have been fine looking back on it, but you never know.
Yeah, at the time you were kind of
Better safe than sorry.
Exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
But the way the way the media portrayed it was like the whole fucking city was burning down.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah, and that's why I went down there Friday night, and I went down to Penn and North where like the CVS burned down and all that shit, and like there were protests out there where they were all peaceful, all kinds of different people out there, black, white, yellow, brown, everything. Yellow, man. There's some
like
yellow
jaundice
motherfuckers
yellow.
out there.
They have hepatitis or something.
But yeah, I mean, like, it was mad chill. I mean, the thing that bothered me the most was just like all the fucking police and National Guard, and there was a helicopter flying overhead, and I guess they had like a mega.
Was it a black helicopter?
It had parts of it were black.
Okay, just checking.
Why do you care if it's black? Are you racist?
It's the whole black helicopter meme.
Yeah, the whole like Alex Jones.
Alex
thing.
Jones. I got the documents. But yeah, I mean, so like there's a helicopter flying overhead, like, and apparently like my buddy who lives down there was telling me like they had helicopters ever since the shit went down, and they've been flying overhead like all day, all night.
Oh, was he getting pissed?
Yeah, he was not happy about that. I mean, you could hear it from inside his house, like and it was very ominous. And like, so we're out there, and like it's flying overhead, and it was like 9:00, and they had curfew in effect at 10, and the helicopter it had like a megaphone or whatever, and it was saying like, everybody better be inside by 10:00, curfew in an hour. It was just like it felt like 1984.
Yeah.
It was like being in like what it must feel like to be in North Korea.
Yeah, like it's really creepy with the martial law thing, because I mean it kind of comes up, and I feel like people aren't as upset about it as they should be. But I mean, obviously, like we're pretty upset about it. There are some people that are upset about it, but I feel like there wasn't as much outcry as there should be about the curfew. Just because
Right.
if you're in a free country, you shouldn't have a fucking curfew.
And I mean, imagine just how badly it affected businesses.
Did you see that video earlier in the week where like apparently like the cops were like shooting pepper balls at a journalist?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's basically like on one side of the street there's cops, on the like down the street a little bit there's protesters, and then in the middle there's journalists taking pictures. So apparently the protesters were yelling at the journalist, and then the cops were shooting pepper balls at the journalist. And I mean, it seemed kind of fucking crazy. Like, why are you going to shoot pepper balls at somebody who's just going to take a fucking picture?
Yeah.
What about your freedom of the press?
Well, apparently they were harassing like someone from Al Jazeera, like right after I went inside. Where I was originally, like joining the protest. There was apparently after I left, there was like media, and I guess there were people like that were disobeying the curfew, and like a whole bunch of people got arrested, and apparently like a guy from Al Jazeera got arrested, but they let him go because he was media. But
I wonder how many people would have to show up before they couldn't arrest everybody. There's only so much room in the cells. So can they take 5,000 people, 10,000 people?
Well, did you hear about all the people who were like...
Yeah, apparently they could only hold you for like 48 hours.
Yeah.
So
did you see the video of the guy that got
have charges for you in 48 hours? They were just turning a lot of people back out anyways.
That's a lot of
Did
fucking
you see
time
the video
to
of
be in
the
jail.
guy that got arrested?
No, it is.
Did you see the video of the guy that got arrested and he was shoved?
But
into
it's better than like if it was like 72 hours.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So, yeah. It's.
Did you see the video of the guy that got arrested and he was like shoved into a Humvee? Did you see that?
No, it's
I think I heard about that.
Yeah, well, that guy was out the next day, and he was at one of the protests, like, giving a speech. It was pretty cool. And he was talking about it.
Wow.
So, I mean, but then there were people that were being held for, like, 48 to 72 hours without any charges in a cell.
But you know what? That shit happens every fucking night in Baltimore. And I mean, it does, and that's it was interesting too because there was I mean, I'm sure you guys, I'm assuming you feel the same way because we were talking about this earlier, is the way the media handled it and a lot of the questions they were asking the people. And, it's like, this shit happens every fucking night in Baltimore. So when the mayor came out and tweeted something about,
fucking mayor.
Right? She's like, oh, my heart breaks for the city. I'm like, if you take away the car fires, last night. This is fucking Baltimore every night.
Right.
The only reason your heart's breaking is because it's in the fucking front page news.
Right,
You know, if
exactly.
if your heart's breaking that much, where were you a fucking year ago or 2 years ago? You know, that's such fucking bullshit, man.
Well,
And-
you know, one thing that pisses me off too is it seems like when the riots were going on and when the severe looting and shit on like what was that Monday?
Yeah.
Like apparently from what I've heard is the police off the record were said that the mayor wouldn't let them do anything, right? So it's basically like the mayor and she's told everybody like, you know, go ahead and purge basically.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she she's said it, you know, she basically told people to go loot. She talked about the whole quote unquote purge like it was like a natural process that people have to do to get through this. And it's like, meanwhile, you know, there's a lot of businesses that are like, you know, severely fucked up. You know, some of those businesses will probably close, you know, because that's going to be like a huge hit.
Right.
And apparently insurance companies don't cover this because it's not like an accident or like an act of God, you know.
Right.
So it's
Really, they don't cover it at all. I didn't know that.
That's what I heard this week. And
Damn, that
I
sucks.
also heard a lot of those car fires. Like I heard this from a guy that lives downtown, right? And he knew some people who set their car on fire. And he
Their
told me-
own car?
Yeah, people were setting their
Just
own.
to collect insurance on it?
Yes. This guy lives in the town.
That's so funny.
Yeah, this guy's an older African American gentleman in his 50s, and he told me like he knows people who set their own cars on fire to
Right.
collect their fucking insurance money, and he just thought it was hilarious as shit. He's like, you know, you're not going to be paid. You're just torching your car.
Right.
It was pretty ridiculous.
So you're saying like even like car insurance companies wouldn't cover that?
Well, that's what he was telling me. So, and then he actually got pulled over one night after curfew, like 10 o'clock or whatever. And he said he got pulled over twice actually. He said the first time he made the mistake of they're like, "What are you doing out?" He's like, "None of your damn business."
Yeah.
Because he's pissed off.
I think
you
I know who this guy
He's
is.
pissed off.
Is he a black guy?
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's the problem. You can't, if you're black, you can't talk like that to the cops because then you'll get in trouble.
No, I mean he's like, dude, he's like in his 50s. He's a really cool dude. It's but you know he's just pissed off because you know curfew. You know I'm an adult. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
You know it's bullshit.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I mean, I was out. I mean, when I was down there, I didn't leave until like 11:30, so I was breaking curfew.
But
I had to
you're white.
drive up like 28th Street and then I hit 83 and took that home. But
Dude, the white neighborhoods are fine. You can be out past 10 past curfew
did
in the
you
white
hear-
neighborhoods.
Yeah, did you hear about like Canton? Apparently in Canton, which is like a very predominantly white area with, you know, just like higher class bars. Apparently they were open till whenever the hell they wanted to be open. Like,
Yeah, actually, I was hanging out with some friends last night in Pikesville, and one of the dudes lives downtown, and they were like, it was past 10 o'clock, and I'm like, oh, dude, better watch the curfew. And he's like, he made some comment of like, oh, well, you know, they're not going to pull over a white person, blah, blah, blah.
yeah,
You know, so
and yeah.
I wonder if that's what they were doing the entire time, because I hadn't heard too much about it.
Yeah.
I mean, we joke about it, but I mean,
yeah,
honestly,
I don't know any white people who were pulled over.
yeah.
No, I don't know.
But
either.
I mean, I don't know. I just know that one black dude who was pulled over. So
Yeah, I mean, it's all anecdotal, but you know,
just
kinda-
wondering if they were enforcing it that way or not.
yeah, it's hard to prove anything like that, but you know,
I can say one thing that was kind of cool. I say cool about the riot, but interesting and also cool is the fact that I noticed like very few people were really talking about this as a black and white thing. You know, it was more like people against the state thing. You know, it wasn't like
I mean, well, I would say the media didn't do
no,
that.
not
the
the media.
media
No,
doesn't do that,
not
no.
the media. Not the media. I'm talking about people in general. Like if
Right.
you look at the protest, it was like
Yeah, I
it was
think
pretty
so.
good
Most of the
mix.
people I know, yeah.
Yeah, and it was a pretty good mix, and like it didn't seem like it was. Like I don't know, like there was no sense of again like you fucking white man, and it was nothing like that at all. You know, it was basically like people got together and like, yeah, we're fucking sick and tired of the police beating the shit out of people and
Right.
killing people in this city.
Yeah, like so you went down to the protest, right, Jared?
Yeah, I was out
And
there.
then I mean, did you get any sort of vibe like white people weren't welcome there, or was there a
No.
lot of white people there?
There was a shit ton of white people, dude.
Yeah. So it's
I mean,
basically-
even the guy who was
that's
giv-
from what I've seen
yeah.
from what I've seen on the internet, Facebook. It kind of seemed like that. There was
Yeah.
there's a decent mix of people.
There was no animosity. I mean, I mean, the guy who was giving the speech, was saying like, "Look, we got everybody out here. We got white people, we got black people. It's not about that. It's not about race. It's about the police are oppressing us. The police are abusing us."
Yeah, like I like also too. Like I've seen it. The point has been made quite a few times in the media recently, and just like here and there where people are bringing up, this, because you've got some people that are saying like, oh, these police are getting out of control, like some of the older people, or I don't know, I guess some of the more jaded people, I think the police are getting out of control, and it's like I've seen a couple people in the media point out that no, this is how they've always acted. It's just now you've got cameras, so now you're seeing how they're acting,
right?
Because people are catching it on camera,
right?
But it's funny though. There is a certain demographic of people that thinks like, oh, this is a new thing for police to do this.
Yeah,
and it kind of like, and for some of those people, like they don't handle it well, because it kind of like shatters their reality. So like when you bring up that like, no, they've always been doing this, it's like, they just kind of like tune you out and stick their fingers in their ears and close their eyes. It's because they have this thing where like they're just kind of been bred by the state to like support police, and police are good people. But. And I'm not saying once again, I don't want to say that every single cop is bad,
right.
But I do think there's a bully aspect to the job that brings a lot of bad people to it.
Yeah, I mean, what I've been trying to hammer on, because there's definitely you can't say every police officer is bad, and you can't say every police officer is racist and wants to be brutal, but
exactly,
it's the system that breeds and allows this kind of behavior.
Exactly,
and it doesn't check itself enough.
Totally, the problem is like through the
eliminate it.
system. Like even if you have a good cop, which I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a few.
I mean, I know there are cops at my gym, and they're cool guys. They say hi.
Do they pat you on the butt after you like, do a bench press or
slap,
something?
dude. Yeah, spotting me and shit.
Nice, dude. So yeah, but I mean, it's like you think about it though. If you're going to be a quote unquote good cop 100% of the time, it's at some point in time you're going to come to heads with a corrupt system.
Right.
You're going to have to cross that quote unquote thin blue line.
Yeah, and even like the good cops, I still put blame on them for enforcing like the war on drugs. Like, I mean, I don't think you can just whitewash that and say
they're
just out there.
At the same time, I'm thankful that there's somebody that's pretty decent in there.
Yeah, no, but, for sure. But
at the same time, my mind is blown that this person really, you're this cool and you're gonna join this. Join this group of thugs in promoting this war,
right?
And
I mean, with the exception of like LEAP, which is Law Enforcement Against Prohibition, which I have mad respect for those guys.
Yeah, totally.
But it's the majority of them. I mean, do they? It's like the guy that you met in Colorado. He doesn't want to arrest people for drugs, but he will if he's given those orders.
He's just following orders.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Is like, I mean, cops are the. They're like at the barrel. They're at the barrel of the. They're like the bullet in the gun of the state, right?
It's like I've even said before that like I would have more sympathy for a Nazi than a cop.
Why is that? That's a controversial thing to say.
Yeah, it is. And then this is just one way of looking at it. But it's basically like with the Nazis. If you have a bunch of Nazis knock on your door and they like fucking want to enlist you and you say no. You could have gotten shot.
Right.
Like right there.
Right.
So, but
you're saying
a police officer signs up and volunteers for this job,
right?
Knowing that he's going to be imprisoning, peaceful people.
Right.
I
mean, that's one angle to look at it, but you can't.
You can't say Nazi and not have people go, what the fuck is wrong with you, man?
Right.
Yeah, but I just gave the reasoning.
No, you did. And
your reasoning is solid. I think the difference, and it may just be in people's minds, is that they don't. Well, number one, most people don't see the drug war as a big issue.
Okay. Nazis just followed orders, and if they didn't, they could get a gun to the back of their head.
Right.
But a police officer,
has the option.
Maybe in the heat of the moment, if he disobeys an order, he might have another cop shoot him. If the corruption,
is that deep?
I'm going to say it probably is in some circumstances. But I mean, for the most part, I mean, this guy can just go home and think about his day of like imprisoning peaceful people, and he could just decide he wants to quit.
Right.
But I don't know. then there's also the whole thing. Not everybody sees it the same as me, but I don't know. I just feel like I'm not going to be apologetic about the way that I see it. I think it's wrong to imprison peaceful people. It's wrong to throw somebody in a rape cage for possessing a substance.
Right, and what I was getting at was, I mean, if you look at the state, if you look at every law as a gun pointed at you, right? Yes. So the cop is essentially the bullet in that gun. The cop is the end of that. I mean, the cop is the end result, right? The cop is one who's enforcing the end result.
Yeah, he's a cog in that corrupt machine.
Right, he's a cog in the corrupt machine, but he's like the last cog. So, I mean, I know this is sort of idealistic to say, but if every cop decided we're not going to enforce the drug law, the drug war anymore, we're not going to arrest people for victimless crimes anymore, who is going to do it, right? I mean, it would end right there. And I know people are like, well, but then you have the legislature and they pass all these laws. But I mean, if you really, those are just abstractions. When it comes down to it, it's just people with guns doing things. And these people with guns are deciding that they're going to enforce these corrupt laws. And so, I mean, you have to hold them accountable for that. I mean, I'm not saying these are all evil, terrible people, but they are enforcing evil, terrible laws.
Yeah.
So,
and and the other side of that too, I think for a lot of people, it's a lot of people are waking up now, realizing how evil these laws are. Whereas for years, they just kind of thought that, oh, well, the government could do no wrong.
Right?
It was just like, say no to drugs. Drugs are ruining the country. Drugs are supporting terrorism.
Right.
All the propaganda behind drugs, and I feel like more people are starting to wake up. And I guess as more people wake up, I just have less and less understanding for how a police officer could sign up to do that job.
Right.
Like as more and more people wake up, it's those people, the people that are waking up, that's where you draw your cops out of that pool, But of course, like I said before, you get
it's almost like cognitive dissonance, though. I think like they just think, well, we're gonna go out here and we're gonna arrest murderers and we're gonna arrest rapists, which is awesome. Those people deserve to be thrown in jail. But then they get in and they realize, well, a lot of our job is arresting small-time drug dealers on the side of the road, And
you just keep doing it because everybody else does.
Right.
And you've got to earn a paycheck.
And you have a family of 3 that you need to support, and a wife you need to support, and a house you need to pay for, and this is the only thing that you've ever been trained to do. And so, I mean, it's tough, man.
It's kind of weird to think like the only difference between you and a homeless guy is a couple paychecks.
Right.
Because I mean, if you're especially for your average person, how much would you have saved up, to where like if you lost your job and you didn't find a new one before you would end up out on the street. I mean, but at the same time, I think most people know somebody who would take them in.
I think most people
you have places where you can go, and of course you have unemployment.
They
stuff.
They have like a safety net that isn't the government. They have someone who, like a parent or a friend that'll take them in.
Well, you have that, but I mean, I think most people wouldn't you collect unemployment if you could or not?
I don't know. I mean, I want to say I wouldn't, but if it was between that and going and like living on the street, yeah, I mean,
probably. I would. I've been forced to like pay into it if I can use it.
Right.
I'll fucking do it.
What were you gonna say, Jeff?
No, I was just thinking about that too. I can't even imagine that part of it, because I've definitely been out of work before, but it never even crossed my mind to get unemployment. I've even had jobs where I probably got paid less than I could have made had I gotten unemployment. Know, but my mind doesn't really work like that. And I think there's a lot of people that are the same way. They're just like, I'm not gonna fucking, because there's a time. My dad used to tell me, he's like, yeah, back in the day, like nobody was on welfare or take unemployment because that was embarrassing. Like you would never do that unless you absolutely had no other choice, because like if anyone found out you were on welfare or you're taking unemployment, you'd be the fucking laughing stock of the neighborhood.
Well, like now too, it's pretty fucking it's commonplace, man.
Right.
Like, I've known a number of people who have just like lost their jobs and just like rode on.
Dude, I know people that came out of college and they couldn't find jobs, so they just went on unemployment.
Yeah, dude,
which is to a degree. Yeah. To a degree, I mean, like I kind of understand, but I don't know. That never crossed my mind. I mean, but then again, I had my parents to, lean back on at that time. If it was between that and going on the streets, I mean, I don't know.
But here's the thing.
Yeah, like last time I didn't have a job, but like I had my parents to lean back on. You
Right.
know, I was still living with them. That's the last time I didn't have a job.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
But how old were you?
I mean, I was like
I was
21.
probably like 21, something like that.
See, I feel like there's so many people that it's such an easy thing to do to say, okay, well, I'm just gonna accept unemployment and just not take any job I can get. Like, there's so many people that come out of college and they're like, well, I'm not gonna fucking be a waiter because I have a fucking degree in marketing.
That is the other thing.
That's
is
such
like,
fucking bullshit. It's like you're
options.
above it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's such crap. You know, there's all you could.
Yeah, waiter's pretty good money too if you get in the right place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could listen. I'm sure you guys have had shitty jobs in your life. I know I've had shitty jobs in my life, but whatever, man. I had fucking bills to pay, and I had to take it, so I just took it. Yeah. And you look for something else in the meantime if you don't like that job. And there are people back in the day too. I think about my grandfather, he's like almost 90 years old, and he quit school when he was 16 because he had to help work on the farm, to help his family out. There weren't like jobs around the corner. He couldn't go get like a second job at McDonald's or something. That shit didn't exist, and he still made do.
Right.
It's like
there is always options. Yeah, that's a good point, man. And I feel like I'd probably do that. I mean, just go deliver pizzas or whatever.
Right.
But.
And think about the things that are important too. And I know this one guy I used to work with at this hotel years ago. I was a bellman, and this guy used to complain all the time because the hotel didn't offer health benefits. And I didn't really think much about it. I was like, why would they offer health benefits, if you're a bellman? Like, I didn't understand that. To me, like, a bellman was just kind of like, you make really good tips and everything, but, and I made really good money there, but I never thought about getting health insurance. And this guy complained about it all the time.
He was a lot older? Maybe?
He was about 5 years older, and he was probably like in his late 20s, I guess, at the time.
Like, did he have health issues?
Not to my knowledge. Okay. Maybe he did. But I remember going to his house for a party one night, and dude, he had the nicest fucking setup, man. Like this beautiful like entertainment system and like all these instruments and shit. And I was like, dude, like if you're that fucking broke and you need health insurance, fucking get some. You can pay for it by selling your fucking TV if you really need it that bad,
That's another thing. Is like,
do you think that employers should provide health insurance or not?
No, I think employers should do what the fuck
if they
want
to.
Yeah, if they want to, that's fine. The reason employers offer health insurance because back in the day, years and years and years ago, there was a shortage of getting good workers. So companies would offer all these great benefits to get the good employees in. And then then the union started saying, well, they all have to have benefits, and we got so used to it that it's like, oh, you go to get a job, and you're like, oh yeah, of course you get benefits with this job, and it's great. Like I'm very happy I have benefits with my job, but I don't think there should be anything in place that says a company has to provide health benefits. And they'll say, well, if the company has more than 100 employees, what the fuck does that matter? I don't care if the company has 5,000 employees. What's the difference?
Right, yeah, and all that does is force the company to like limit itself to less employees and not grow if they don't think they can hit the next whatever milestone they need to hit to be profitable.
Dude, if companies want good employees, they will offer them great benefits.
And I was talking about this with
somebody. So you're saying companies should provide benefits if they want good employees.
If they want to, it'll help them get good employees. Yeah.
No, I'm not asking for a second. Like, should there be a law that companies should provide benefits? I think everybody here is totally agrees that there should be a law that companies should.
Right.
But the question is, do you think that companies should?
I mean, it depends on the company.
Yeah, I think it depends on the company.
If it's McDonald's, I don't think so. But if it's, well, I mean, I don't know. I guess McDonald's could probably afford to do it. But I mean, if it's like small, small business making cupcakes,
why shouldn't McDonald's provide health benefits? I mean,
but that's up to McDonald's. I can't say whether they should or shouldn't. I mean. It's up to McDonald's.
You can say whether they should or shouldn't. I don't believe that you can force them to.
Right.
But I mean, you can have an opinion.
I mean, they can probably afford to. So yeah, I think they should. But
I think it really comes down to not so much whether they can afford to, but what they want out of their employees. I firmly believe that if you want good employees, you offer them benefits. It doesn't have to be health benefits. It could be anything.
Yeah, it could be like higher wages.
Higher wages,
any sort of incentive to keep good employees there.
More vacation,
more vacation time, better working conditions.
I mean, whatever it takes to keep your employees to get quality employees and keep them around.
Dude, the company I work for is fucking awesome, and they give us great benefits. And
so I mean, basically, if a company wants to do a good job, if a company wants to have good employees who are going to do a good job, they probably should provide benefits. You're saying.
Yeah, if they want to get quality employees, they're going to have to offer something that other companies don't, I think.
But at the same time, I mean, there's companies that, in an ideal economy, like their employees might be just like high school part timers, right? I mean, like McDonald's. I mean, should they provide high schoolers? I mean, typically most high schoolers are covered by their parents, anyways, right?
Yeah.
So there's no reason that they should be covered. However, unfortunately, in the current economy, you have a lot of you have everybody working these kinds of jobs.
Well, and there's also that whole argument, like kind of idea that maybe one of the problems with healthcare, I don't know if you thought about this, is that so many employers do provide health benefits.
So it jacks up the price?
Yeah, it's basically like these employers provide these health benefits, so there isn't much of a market for everybody else.
That are unemployed?
No, for people who have jobs that don't provide health benefits. Like, maybe if all these employers didn't provide benefits, maybe there would be a more people in the pool and there would be a better market for benefits.
Well, but when we have companies doing it, they can pull people together, and that's how they get better pricing. That's
right.
That's essentially how it's supposed to work. If you don't count how Obamacare, if you don't put Obamacare into the equation, that's how it should work. If you have large corporations at 5,000, 10,000 people, and they pull together, they can get better deals in health insurance. That's the advantage for them.
Right.
I mean, I've had jobs. I mean, I took care of my own health insurance for many years, and it wasn't cheap, but I mean, it was doable.
Yeah. Like I have to take care of my own, and it was basically like what was it? Maybe like not even a year ago, I ended up losing it because of Obamacare, and then I didn't get it back until like February.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm paying a considerable amount more for it now, and I don't know. I mean, it's like,
But dude, more people are insured.
yeah. I mean, yeah.
That's the whole thing. It's like there's
There's always this Obamacare sucked for me.
Exactly, and there's always this just collectivist argument that's like, well, yeah,
Actually
some
made
people
me
have
lose my insurance for a little bit.
Right, and it's like, oh well, some people have to pay more, and some people are going to go insured, but more people are going to be insured. Well, I mean, if you think of it from the individual perspective, the individual is the one who cares about whether he's insured or not insured,
and takes care of himself.
and take care of himself. So if because of government intervention, he suddenly has to pay more for his insurance, that's not fair to him. It's not the market price. It's not what it should be.
Yeah,
well, I mean, that's been the case for a long time. Even before Obamacare, you had the situation where, the health insurance companies basically work out of Capitol Hill. So, I mean, they've always been in kind of cahoots anyway. There's a really great, I can't remember the name of the company now, but I think they were out in California somewhere. And this guy owned this company. I think he had maybe like 500-600 employees or something like that. Maybe it was more. I apologize for being cloudy about this, but I remember there's this company and this guy, he was the CEO, and he essentially built his own clinic for his employees because he found that it was cheaper for him over time if he had his own clinic with his own doctors and nurses and tech staff, and have them use that instead of having them go to a hospital or another healthcare facility where the health insurance would be more, and the quality would be less. And he also incentivized his employees. They had all kinds of deals where, like, if you were overweight, if you lost a certain amount of weight, then you would get a break on your because you still paid into the health insurance thing, but it was for the one the company owned, and it was actually cheaper than other health insurance companies. And they'd give you all kinds of benefits, like if you smoked, like if you quit smoking, they'd give you like $1,000 towards your health insurance, something like all these great things. And to me, that was like a perfect free market approach, because this guy said, look, the system that's in place is ineffective, it's expensive, and it's not really serving it's not much of a benefit to my employees. This way, I get healthy employees. They're a lot happier because they get better health care, and all around, like he's getting happier, healthier workers. That's a beautiful situation. I'd much rather see 5,000 companies do that that have to be forced into a healthcare system
Right.
run by the government, no less.
No, totally. It's like healthcare was totally fucked before Obamacare, and it's like one of the things that like ticks me off with like talking to conservatives. It's basically like sometimes I get the vibe from them where they feel like health insurance like. They kind of don't acknowledge how fucked up it was in the first place.
Right.
And they don't acknowledge that, these are conservatives that supposedly believe in small government. And they don't acknowledge that the government made it fucked up by their regulations, to where you can't purchase health insurance across state lines. Maybe the problem is the problem seems to be like insurance companies to begin with, because insurance companies just drive up the cost of healthcare. There's like I feel like if you had a freer market on it, you would have more. You'd have doctors advertising prices.
Yeah, and then there's stuff like
you would actually
like
call around.
like the interstate commerce laws that doesn't let you like go out of state to get coverage, that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So you reduce competition.
Totally.
I mean, you can go on and on about that stuff, but.
No, yeah. I mean, like, dude, what if you could say one possible market solution? You bring over doctors from China. Where you bring them over here, they make more here than they would there, but they probably wouldn't make much as a doctor that spoke English or something. You know what I mean? You could you could do all sorts of things to make health insurance cheaper.
Well, they do that now though for nurses. I know, like a lot of Filipino nurses come here to work, and teachers too, nurses and teachers. I mean, I don't know why they couldn't do that now.
I mean, right now, you can't even open up a hospital without being approved by a board of hospitals. And why are the surrounding hospitals in the area that are already there and established, why are they going to want another hospital to come in and take some of their patients away? Meanwhile, a lot of these hospitals are just like overrun. You go there, and there's no parking.
I don't know. I think some of them would probably want that, but
like they're working at full fucking capacity,
right?
Maybe some of the employees would want that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're getting paid hourly. They're not getting paid by the job. But the hospital, like the CEO, would not want another hospital.
Probably not.
They're going to want as many people in there as possible.
That's true.
So, just the idea that you need a board of hospitals to approve another hospital, I think that the market would approve another hospital, because, nobody's going to want to build a fucking hospital if there's not people that are going to want to pay for medical services,
Right.
It's if you're in the hospital building business, you're not going to go to the city if you don't think that there's, need for you there.
I like this idea of
there's a demand for you.
I like this idea of these like Walmart health clinic places where you just go in, because one of the problems too with health insurance and these hospitals is, and it's not them, it's like people come in and they say, oh, I got a broken finger, or I got food poisoning, and go to the emergency room. And it's like, dude, if you need to see a doctor, just go if there's a clinic nearby that you can go to, and they can take care of you a lot cheaper and a lot faster. And don't waste anybody's time. And someone's coming in for a fucking heart attack. I mean, like, sorry, I got to set somebody's pinky right now.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool market solution. And sadly, it's like for the problem with healthcare, it gets blamed on the free market when we didn't have a free market in the first place.
There hasn't been a free market.
There hasn't been one.
Yeah. Well, everything gets blamed on the free market.
But at the same, you have to consider too that if you're talking about health insurance companies, it's like I haven't had a lot of good experience with the health insurance companies until I'd say maybe the last, I don't know, since I've had kids, really, because that's been really helpful since then. But the health insurance companies, like, I don't really have a problem with them jacking up the prices if they have to. Like, if the government wasn't involved, and they had to jack the prices up just to make a profit, I don't have a problem with that. Particularly because there's so many people that never pay their fucking bills anyway,
Thing,
Well, yeah, I mean, if
like I know a nurse that works like downtown.
They can jack up their prices as much as they wanted to, but the second they jack them up too high, somebody's going to go to this other guy because he can do it cheaper.
Right.
But they have to be able to adjust their prices to meet demand and just the amount of resources it takes to complete the job.
Oh, of course.
Mm-hmm. You okay there? You fall asleep?
No, I'm fine.
Are we boring you, Matt?
I didn't bore you with all this healthcare talk.
No, I think I brought it up.
So, I think you want to talk about Clinton.
Yes. I want to read you guys this. This is good. Hold on. Talk amongst yourselves while I pull this up. Here it is. I talk amongst yourselves, please. Okay, so I'm going to read this to you. It says it was an article. Shit, I don't remember. I think it was a CNN article. It says, although this is about her talking about legalization. She said, although Clinton was had largely ducked questions about marijuana in the weeks since declaring her bid to become the next president, she did state her opinions in a town hall meeting June 2014. When asked about the idea of legalizing marijuana nationally, she said, "On recreational use, states are the laboratories of democracy. We have at least 2 states that are experimenting with that right now. I want to wait and see what the evidence is." Now it gets better. Hold on.
Very pussy.
Yeah. It gets
oh,
better.
Was that sexist? Okay. Okay. I just want to say, if Ted Cruz would have said that, I would have said it was very pussy.
Yes.
If Bernie Sanders said that, I would have said it was very pussy. If any man said that, I would have said it was very pussy. So
why you assume pussy is like a
no, because
like
if
limp.
you say anything about Hillary.
It's a limp dick
No.
position.
But I'm saying
it's
like
limp dick position.
Yeah, limp dick. You can say limp dick then. Okay.
Whatever.
No, but this is the best part of this. She says
She's being a dick.
Yeah. When asked about medical marijuana, Hillary had this to say: "I don't think we're okay." Hold on, I gotta open this up because I'm old and my eyes don't work that well.
Why don't you open that up?
Okay. She goes, "I don't think we've done." This is great. Listen, I don't think we've done enough research yet. Although I think for people who are extreme medical conditions and have anecdotal evidence that it works, there should be availability under appropriate circumstances. But I do think we need more research because we don't know how it interacts with other drugs. There's a lot we don't know.
Hold on.
You got some more
Don't you
pussy
think
stuff
the
at the
criminal justice system has been the perfect laboratory for whether the drug war is working or not?
Yeah, for most sane people, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like she's throwing on an act right now. Like, oh, I'm actually slowly coming to realize this.
Yeah.
When the point has been made for years, they've just chosen to ignore it. It's only after the majority of Americans are, turning against the drug war that now the politicians are coming around.
Well,
which I think proves like a fucking wonderful point. It's basically if you want to change the world, you don't do that by voting. Voting's one thing that you can do. It's something that's very easy to do. I'm not saying that you shouldn't vote. I mean, I think that you should. I think it is one thing that you can do. But I think the best thing you can do is talk to your neighbor about these things.
Right.
Because it's once popular opinion has changed on the drug war, then the politicians are changing slowly but surely.
So
like
they can
Hillary
get
Clinton
reelected.
is even evolving her point of view just because she wants to get elected.
Right.
Because, like government, people don't realize how strong they are, dude. Because government will only do what they can get away with.
Right.
We outnumber them by a lot.
Yeah. Government only exists because we allow it to exist.
Exactly. And they will only do what we allow them to do.
Right.
So, the more and more people that wake up against anything, you're going to have politicians are going to respond to that.
Well, okay, I don't mean to go off your rant, but I really want to dissect some of these sentences because
Yeah, let's do it, man.
they really need to be dissected. In terms of medical marijuana, the first sentence she says, "I don't think we've done enough research yet." Really, there hasn't been enough research yet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, even like
so
the big what's the big CNN guy? Sanjay Gupta. Yeah, even he changed his tune, and he's like the golden calf of like the fucking
The golden calf.
like he's the man when it comes to that kind of shit. And
Even Pat Robertson changed his fucking tune.
Dude.
Really?
Pat Robertson. He's
yeah,
totally
I remember
against
that.
marijuana prohibition now.
And if you
Right.
and if we can like break outside of our own bubble of the United States and look, there's like centuries of research on cannabis.
Right.
Well,
I mean, yeah, you have like Spain that decriminalized, and
but even before that, I mean, just like old shamans used it, for a number of different
course, yeah,
things,
yeah.
But no, but we need more research. Okay, second sentence. Although I think for people who are in extreme medical conditions and have anecdotal evidence that it works, there should be availability under appropriate circumstances. So what she's saying is, we'll give you permission. Maybe I got to check with all the other senators and Congress people and talk with the police, and then maybe I'll allow you to not be in pain.
from a scientific
come on.
scientific vantage, she's saying, oh, because you have anecdotal evidence, that's sufficient. I mean,
if she wants to know about weed and like the effect of marijuana, I mean, like her husband smoked pot and he
Right.
became the fucking president. You know,
And
but
you know
it
she
just
got
seems
high
like
too.
that sentence contradicts the sentence before it, like 100%. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, it's just the point. You know, her husband smoked pot and he became the president. So
Right.
as long as you don't get caught, you can become the president.
you can become an Olympic gold medalist. You can become
You know,
whatever.
it's just the point. I mean,
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton, I'm sure, has been around her fair share of drugs back in the day.
Right.
Right.
You know, I'm sure she knows lots of people who have, smoked a fair amount of marijuana. So she knows it's not that big of a deal. She knows if you don't get caught, you can become president. And now it's like, this is new news to her.
Right. Exactly. She's just figured it
it's
out.
her great epiphany. Yeah.
What else do we? What
Okay,
other magic do we
my
have?
point
here?
is, if this is really her great epiphany,
yeah.
she's the biggest fucking idiot ever. If this is really her great epiphany. But no, of course it isn't.
Of course it isn't.
It's like, and I don't know. I feel like this is the kind of thing that like makes a politician evil.
Right.
Because she's obviously understood this shit all along. She's been around drugs all along. Barack Obama had been around a ton of drugs.
Yeah.
Barack Obama said he smoked a little bit of he smoked a lot of weed or something, and he did a little bit of blow, which means
Which means he did a lot of blow.
smoked a lot of blow.
Yeah.
He did a lot of blow. So for these people to still enforce these laws, really knowing that if your sole crime is just being caught with these drugs, it's not really a crime that hurts anybody.
And it ruins your life if you get caught.
And knowing that you're sending people to jail for rape. Like, I actually heard statistics recently that there's more. If you count prisons, there's more rapes. More men are raped in America than women.
Really?
Yeah,
Lovely.
If you count prisons.
But those are bad people.
But it's funny though. But I mean,
Yeah.
this rape culture shit, it's gonna go full circle.
Right.
Because I mean, like, people need to be more upset about other people getting raped in prison who are in there for marijuana.
Right.
It's like
Well, I mean, you shouldn't be raped in prison for any reason, really.
Well, yeah, totally for any reason. But it's like 1 in 6 people that are in prison are in there for weed, something like that.
Right.
It's a pretty crazy number. 1 in 6.
For weed or just for drugs?
1 in 6 for weed.
What?
I believe drugs, it's like over half.
That's so ridiculous, dude.
But yeah,
That's
1
so
in 6
absurd.
for weed.
Wow.
It's crazy, and of course, then most of those people are minorities, because it's probably a class issue. A lot of those minorities, don't have enough money to provide a lawyer, which is why the drug war doesn't go on as much in white neighborhoods, because the white guy can find a lawyer, and there's no prison industrial complex money there.
Right.
So it's pretty fucked up, man.
Yeah. Let me read you this one last sentence, because
Finishing
there's something
touch.
about this. It says, but I do think we need more research, because we don't know how it interacts with other drugs. How many fucking drugs are on that you
How
can
it
get right now
interacts
that you
with
can
other
take
drugs.
together and fucking die?
Dude,
Name one fucking drug you can take and then smoke weed and die from it.
I don't know. Any drug that you would name, you probably shouldn't be doing by itself anyway.
Right.
So-
But I'm just saying legal drugs.
Yeah, dude.
Stuff you can get over the
I'm
counter.
kind of stealing this from an episode of the Joe Rogan podcast that I listened to, but there's a commercial, and I saw it the other day. It's for, oh God, I can't remember what it's for, but it's just one of the, I think it's like it may be like a antipsychotic drug, but like one of the side effects is, they say, may suffer from anal bleeding, which could become fatal. And it's like, what? You have this drug on the market that's completely legal, that's supposed to deal with psychotic behavior, or with, like, I think it might have just been depression. I don't think it was anything super serious. Well, I mean, depression's serious, but and it wasn't like I can't think of it right now, but anyway, so
that's
you're
the
talking
other
about
end of this shit. You think about all the crazy drugs that have been approved
Right.
that have all these like horrible side effects.
Yeah.
And
then-
meanwhile, most people have tried weed, and it's like, well, if this is working for people,
and
why not approve it?
What I was trying to get at, because I couldn't remember what it was, but I remember whatever it was. I was thinking, you could just smoke a bowl and you'd be fine.
I know.
Like, and you suffer. The only side effect you suffer is you're gonna maybe eat a lot of Cheetos. You know? Like,
Totally.
and I just, but this is on just regular television. It was like ABC Family or something. I don't know. I was watching fucking ABC Family, but
Yeah, why
I
were
was
you
probably
watching that
high.
shit, dude?
Who knows? But
Fucking ridiculous.
it's just like, this is being broadcast out to families, to children, to everybody, and no one bats an eye. No one thinks twice about it. It's just, oh yeah, this is what the establishment tells us we're allowed to take for our ailments. And then, my neighbor next door smoking weed, he's some kind of demon.
Yeah, I don't mean to keep bringing the whole weed, because we've had this podcast, I've been on it 3 times, and I feel like I always bring up the weed thing, and like, I don't mean to keep harping on it. I'm not even I'm not even a huge weed hound or anything, but to me it's one of the most serious issues for me, because it encompasses
really is,
so many different things. There's a moral issue and an ethical issue. There's a legal issue. There's a freedom issue, obviously a liberty issue. I mean, it encompasses like everything that's wrong in this country is encompassed in the war on drugs.
I think until there are people rotting in a cage, as long as there are people rotting in the cage for this shit, it's got to be brought up.
Yeah,
it's got to be brought up about all drugs.
And it's really disgusting when I don't remember how long ago it was. I don't remember how long ago it was, but I remember there was an interview. It was like one of those YouTube things that like Obama was doing where you could ask him questions. And the number one asked question was like, are you going to legalize weed, or something about legalizing weed? Yeah.
Oh,
and they brought it up and he just laughed. He just laughed like,
of course, yeah.
Oh, those silly stoners.
And it's like, dude,
I'll be out in no time, so it'll be somebody else's problem.
It just makes me just so angry, because
kick the can along.
It just highlights like how not serious people take this. How not serious people take the fact that people, and minorities in particular, are just being thrown in human cages for ingesting a plant that grows out of the ground.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just that it just blows my fucking mind, and I have no more patience for it. I really don't. Like, anytime somebody talks about it and they're and they're demonizing people like that, it just I go off on them. I can't help myself anymore, man. It's just it's gotten to that point.
And that's what you need to do. That's how the conversation will even turn some more.
Right.
And that's how we will win. And we got to do it with all those topics that we believe passionate about.
Right.
Any initiation of force, basically.
But I think that's also a good issue to hammer on, because you do have allies on the left.
Well,
there are a lot of people
on the right too.
And the right.
If you're on the right and you're talking about freedom, okay, let's talk about this freedom, fucker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're on the left and you want to talk about owning your body, let's talk about this.
Right.
It's like I've had that conversation with feminists before, and it's like. Talk about like the vagina monologues or something, or like the woman's right to choose, and it's like, I mean, dude, Roe versus Wade, when was that?
72.
Yeah, I just don't see abortion being made legal anytime soon. I mean, and you're still so concerned about this topic, and meanwhile, you can't smoke weed.
What do you mean being made legal? It is legal.
What?
Abortion is legal.
Made illegal.
Oh, okay.
I don't see Roe versus Wade getting overturned. Ever.
Right.
It's personally, I just don't see it happening. Let's talk about all these other issues that we can work on now.
Yeah.
And then, okay, well, you believe in body ownership, but what about marijuana? What about fucking? I usually go straight to heroin.
Yeah.
Just because like fucking marijuana, it's just like, to me, it's just so tired. Like who doesn't? We've already got a majority of people saying that you should fucking legalize weed.
Right.
Yeah, so let's go straight to fucking heroin.
Yeah, I mean that's another part of the problem is people won't,
especially because the feminist was just saying like, oh, we own our bodies, blah blah blah. Okay, well, you don't really believe in body ownership until you believe that people have the right to put heroin into their fucking body, because it's their body.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's fucking freedom. Once again, like, I don't want to do heroin. I've never tried heroin. I don't want to see you do heroin. I don't want to see anybody do heroin. I know people who have died from fucking heroin. I think heroin's the fucking devil. But, you know what's worse than heroin? Heroin prohibition.
Yeah, I agree, man.
Well said, man.
Yeah,
well said.
yeah, that's great. I agree with that 100%, man.
But, I think there needs to be baby steps, and I think starting with marijuana.
There needs to be baby steps? No, I think there is going to be baby steps.
Well, I'm saying
There's
baby
a need
steps
to
is
be
the way
baby
it's going to.
I mean, that's probably the way it's going to happen.
That's what I'm saying. Is like
that's the way it's been happening, and we've made some progress.
Right. No, I mean there needs to be. I mean, I can tell you what there needs to be, but
Fucking tell us.
You know what I mean?
Lay it down, Jared Bear.
What was I going to say? Yeah, I mean, I just obviously 100% agree with what you're saying, but I do like the fact that people are willing to talk about marijuana, and the fact that that people are realizing that it is a relatively harmless drug. I would say completely harmless, to be honest, but I think that gives more energy to fighting the war on drugs when you get people behind an illicit substance that is proven to not be toxic to you. Whereas with heroin, it's a little harder because people can make, even though it's a bad argument, they can make the argument that heroin's dangerous. We need to, keep it away from our kids. Blah blah blah. Which
I could say marijuana is toxic in some situations, depending upon how it's grown. I mean, there's some people that grow it with so many pesticides and herbicides, and they really, I mean, you basically ingest more than you would ingest from eating, a pesticide-covered apple. So, I mean, it's not the plant itself, but people that, foul it up by, putting shit all over it. That's my little tree hugger rant on that.
Well, I mean, that's part of. Wait, so are you talking weed that is from drug dealers, or are you talking about weed from? Like,
either side. I mean, there's dispensaries that get it, and the dispensary I went to, it'll say on there, it's like this has been grown. This has not been grown in the absence of pesticides or GMOs or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Which I'm glad they put it on there. They're not required to, and I'm glad that they did it on a voluntary basis. But that's one of my hang-ups about weed these days is like you don't. One of the hang-ups about weed and the prohibition angle of it is like you don't know where it's coming from. Like honestly, like I'd be much happier in my life if I could just grow my own, and not have to fucking hide it and all that shit.
Right.
But you can't. And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
meanwhile,
totally.
so if I do, and if I want to get it, then I don't know where it's coming from, and that fucking sucks.
Yeah, and if you had a free market on it, you'd have somebody who own a business, and this dude's say you're going to the grocery store and you see the organic aisle, and it's like fuck, people would probably like an organic weed aisle.
Dude, there are organic weed companies.
Yeah,
So
totally.
here's sort of like a related side issue to that is like so like in the rave culture with like electronic music.
Dude, did you just refer to the rave culture?
The rave culture.
Wow, dude. Did JG
Wow.
Vibes pay you to plug them?
Yeah, man. No. But so, I mean, you have a lot of people that are into that, like to do what's called Molly or MDMA. Now, there was a time when MDMA was pretty new, and it wasn't very heavily regulated, and it wasn't very heavily persecuted. But now that it's become more popular, of course, you have the war of drugs war on drugs that's cracking down on it. So what happens is you have these labs out in, I think some are in America, but some of them are in other countries. And what they'll do is they'll take the substance and they tweak a molecule here. And that suddenly makes it legal. But it also changes certain properties of it. So now it becomes a little bit more dangerous. The dosage needs to be a little bit lower. Mm-hmm. And so, you go to a festival and someone's selling what they call is Molly, but it ends up being something actually different that they were able to get in because it was technically legal.
Yeah, like I've heard
So
about
what
that.
yeah,
I
so
guess
what-
I'm not in touch enough with the I guess the drug
Yeah,
culture.
well, they call
to
them
know.
like designer
But-
drugs.
But yeah, it's like a couple years ago when you were getting Molly, it was like organic ecstasy, people would call it.
Well, I
or
wouldn't call it
natural
organic,
natural
but-
ecstasy.
Yeah, it was
sorry.
just it was pure ecstasy.
Yeah.
Now you have it. It's either cut with something
Yeah, but
or
is
it's a completely different chemical.
Yeah,
and
but
the
now
problem is
there's also a new drug now.
the Flocka thing. Is that what you're talking about?
There's apparently now there's a new natural ecstasy. It's called something else now. Like I learned about it from JG Vibes, who was in the rave culture. He
Right.
He was telling me about it a while ago. I forget though.
Right. But so what I'm trying to say is like you have these other drugs that get in there, and because you don't know what you're getting, you don't know what dosage you need to take. So you may take enough to have a good Molly trip, but what ends up happening is you overdose, and so you have these incidences where kids are dying from this shit because because it's not what they thought it was, you know? And, you know, and then that's just a direct consequence of the war on drugs. You know, people, you know, because this shit's illegal, you can't just, you know, take it to... I mean, now they do have, like, drug test kits, which I advise anyone to use if you're into that shit. But, you know, you don't have the freedom of just like, oh, I can just go to a store and buy my Molly and make sure it's the right thing. And I know that sounds fucking crazy.
I don't think it sounds crazy. I think it's crazy that, I mean, honestly, maybe because I'm older now, and I mean, I did my fair share of drugs back in the day, but there's so much fucking shit out there now. Like, I don't...
It's dangerous,
I mean, there's
man.
so many... I mean, I guess everyone wants different things. I mean, I definitely, like, you know... Just like Obama, I had a little bit of blow at some point, but
I've
yeah,
never
like,
tried it.
But now there's like so much crazy shit. It's like I would be afraid to put that shit in my body.
Right. I mean,
know?
you get a powder and like, oh, it just looks like a powder. You don't know what the fuck it is. This guy tells you, this fucking drug dealer. I mean, not to like demonize every drug dealer out there, but. You know, some guy shows up to you at a festival and he says, "Oh, here's this thing, $20," and you're like, "Okay, fine." You pop it. You don't know what the fuck you're getting into.
Yeah, like I feel like back in the day, like if you bought Coke, it was like you knew that. I mean, you pretty much never even
But
doubted
although
that's
I heard,
what it
like,
was.
even like back during like Woodstock, because I think LSD was illegal before Woodstock. I think like it had come out and then they fucking cracked down on it. So there was even shit going on at Woodstock that was not kosher because.
The brown acid. Don't eat the brown acid.
Although that might have been a rumor too. I don't know. But either way, the point stands. Like because of the war on drugs and because you know there's just this you know unavailability of what you're trying to get and this ignorance of what you're getting. You just don't know what you're putting in your body.
Yeah, totally, dude. Totally.
Totally.
And like at the same time, though, it's like, you know, you really shouldn't demonize drug dealers too much.
Well, that's why I kind of corrected myself there.
You know, lots of good people smoke weed, you know, and they're just providing somebody with a service, you know.
Right.
It's like,
I mean, I think you need to draw all sorts of drugs. You need to draw a difference between like the drug dealer that's just providing the service, and the drug dealer that like preys on like children and I don't know how real that really is. I mean, that could just be.
I'm sure it's very real.
You know,
but
it's you know, they're bad drug dealers, just like they're a bad gynecologist.
Right.
It's like,
have you had a bad experience with your gynecologist? A bad
person in any industry. You know, you can have a good person in any industry.
Right.
You know?
Right. Exactly.
It's
But the problem is it gets exacerbated because it's an illegal market. So there's less market regulation of it, in the sense that you know, you can't like. Post a review and say like, well, this drug dealer has been like been like fucking with kids. Well, you can't do that because you'll get arrested.
Totally, dude. There's no like drug dealer Yelp.
Well, there's one for weed where it's legal. There's a company called Weed Maps that.
But even if there was a drug dealer Yelp is such bullshit. It should be called bitch.com.
Yeah, the only people that leave reviews are people that are bitching, right?
They're just assholes. Yeah.
You know, I've made a point in my life, not on Yelp, but on TripAdvisor. Anytime I leave a message, it's only if it's good. You know, like if I have a bad experience, I just don't put it on there. But if I have a good experience, I always put it on there. Just to like help out the people that are doing good things.
If it was an extraordinarily bad experience, I'd put it on there. Like I showed up to my hotel and there were rats crawling around. Like I'd probably leave it a poor review about that because I don't want people going there. But
like, dude, I have a buddy that has a restaurant downtown. His name's Chad Wells, and he works at
shout out.
He's the chef at Alewife. It's an awesome fucking restaurant.
I've been there.
And
I have too.
Yeah, he actually had somebody come in down there, and like they're in a building that's like something like 100 or 200 years old or something. It's some really old building downtown. So it's like when you're in those old buildings, you know, mice are just, and you're in the city, mice are just something that you kind of have to live with.
Yeah,
right.
You know, so like these people like saw a mouse like run across the floor, and then you know, like Chad apologized, like they had their meal and stuff, but then. It's basically the guy was just trying to hit him up for like free shit.
Oh.
He was like threatening a bad Yelp review, and I mean it's just like fucking insane. It's all over what, you know. It's like
I mean, there are people that are
I'd say
manipulate the
best
system.
burger I've ever ate.
Yeah,
you know, very good. I would highly recommend the place. And
well, fortunately, I mean, not all the reviews are on Yelp are bad. Like there are people that leave good reviews, and if you get enough of them. The shitty ones like that kind of get push down. But yeah, I know it sucks.
Well, I did some diving around on Yelp too when I was bored too. There's this pit beef place that I've been going to since I was like a little kid, right? And I would say like the worst pit beef sandwich there is better than the best pit beef sandwich any place else. That's how highly I would recommend this place. And I've been going on a regular basis ever since I was a kid. So I went to their Yelp page just to see. I'm like, nobody can say a bad thing about this place. And sure enough, there's people complaining about that place.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And it's
was it what was the star? What was the rating on it?
I've tried a lot of places. This place is the best.
What was the rating on it? Was it like a bad rating?
I can't remember specifically even what they said. It was just like, really? I mean, you can't have anything to complain about this place. This place is so fucking awesome. The people that work there are so nice. And you can tell that they must treat their employees well because it's always the same employees every time you go in.
That's awesome.
And it's been like that for years and years and years. And they know exactly what I want. And, I mean, it's just such a consistent product.
Yeah.
I can't speak highly enough about the place. And sure as shit, even this place that I would give 110%. You got people bitching about on Yelp.
Oh yeah.
It's basically extortion because Yelp actually, if you pay Yelp some money, you can basically take the bad reviews down or push them towards the back, and then the reviews go on the front page. Yeah. So that's Yelp's whole game. That's how they make their fucking money.
That's slick.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, I'm 100% sure about that, dude. 100%.
Because I know you can't do that with Facebook.
Yelp is extortion, dude.
I mean, it makes sense, right?
Yelp is extortion. Yeah, it's like if you advertise with Yelp, they kind of let you like tweak things a little bit, and if you don't, they make you look really bad.
That's shitty.
Yeah, it's basically this internet extortion bracket.
Very nice.
So yeah, it's let's see what else we got on the menu for today. You guys want to talk about Bernie Sanders?
Yeah, let's talk about it, Jeff.
No, I just brought it up. I thought it was interesting that he is running for president now, and he comes out and he says, "Yeah, I'm a socialist." And I just thought that's kind of funny because pretty much everybody who runs is a socialist.
Yeah,
but he has the balls to at least say it.
Yeah, I feel like this ensures that the Democratic debates will be interesting.
Yeah.
You're definitely gonna have a.
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot. Like, I've seen a lot of
topics.
my like liberal friends on Facebook that are very happy about this, and I mean, I'm happy that. I mean, for the reasons that you just said, like, I'm happy that someone's going to be shaking things up a bit, I mean, even though obviously we don't like socialism here, it's kind of interesting to hear someone that is an admitted socialist entering into the race who actually may have, I'm not saying he has a legitimate chance of getting elected, but he at least has a legitimate chance of getting heard and getting possibly getting into a debate, so. If
you look at him, though, it's like I don't really agree with him on a lot of issues, obviously. But I think for the most part, I think the guy's intentions are honorable.
Right.
I just think that the way he wants to go about fixing things is kind of screwed up.
Yeah. Totally.
But I mean, I have to respect the guy, just for being consistent for so many years, and really, sticking to his guns and not kind of like wavering with whatever the trend is in Washington.
Yeah, I respect him in the way that I respect Ralph Nader, but not nearly as much. I just think Ralph Nader, while I don't agree with a lot of his positions, I just think he's just super fucking. I think he's totally honest. Whether I disagree with his solutions.
Yeah. It's just nice to have like a real person. On a platform.
And I wouldn't put him on the same par as Nader, but it'll be. I think it'll be interesting to bring him in. I think he'll liven up the debate.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that I will watch. I'll probably see some clips here or there on YouTube, but
I mean, he'll definitely keep Hillary on her toes in as far as her warmongering and the way she kind of cuddles up to Wall Street. So yeah,
it may even force her to change some of her positions on that shit. Maybe.
Oh man, it just seems like pretty much no matter who becomes president, you've got a nightmare in your hands.
You've got a what on your hands?
You've got a nightmare in your hands.
Oh yeah, well, cool. Yeah,
again.
Just like every 4 years.
You got a continuation of the nightmare that we've had forever.
Right.
What else you got?
Let's see. We got Al Sharpton,
Woohoo!
who wants he wants policing to be conducted by the DOJ.
Oh,
Big Al.
Yeah, so
Big Al came Skinny Al.
In the midst of the Baltimore riots this week, Al Sharpton has come out and he's said that he wants a national police department under the Department of Justice.
That is the best idea I've ever heard, ever.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's just like creepy as shit.
Yeah.
You know, just to think about, you know, we complain about cops now. Like, imagine if they're doing everything that they're doing, but then they're like a direct ear to the federal government. You know, and they're in cahoots with each other all across the nation. That's just like creepy as shit, like Big Brother, Orwell, like 1984 times 1,000 shit. You know,
How the fuck does Al Sharpton have any credibility anymore with anybody? I don't get it.
No, totally, yeah. How the fuck did one of the things about like Stephanie Rollins Blake that she's totally pissed me off this week?
The mayor of Baltimore.
Yeah, I think she let the riots get out of control. She basically like let them happen. It's like she felt like the riots needed.
But she
to
couldn't
happen.
have stopped it anyway.
No, you could have stopped it.
She could have stopped it a year and a half ago, maybe.
No,
if
I
she
mean,
fucking...
if you arrested the guy who threw the first brick into somebody's window, you know, but the police were told to stand back, you know. So yeah, I mean, if you cut the riots right away instead of like letting people destroy shit, you know, you'd have less property destroyed. And you know, she basically like she was actually catching a lot of heat because a lot of people feel like she told people go ahead and riot, get it out, you know. And
it's almost like she. And
like,
I mean, this is a little conspiratorial.
All those businesses that got their not really, dude. She did.
No. What I'm saying is like it's a little conspiratorial, but it's almost like she wanted the riots to happen to undermine.
She's not that
the
smart.
Real.
I just have such a hard time believing that somebody. I don't know.
She's not that smart to do that.
Because, dude,
Yeah,
I
but-
don't think
yeah.
I don't think most people realize like how this is going to fuck up Baltimore's economy. Because Baltimore, when you look back in like the 1960s. I believe there was like something like 5 million people living in Baltimore, and then I believe nowadays you've got under 2 million living in Baltimore. I believe at one point in time it actually might have went to under 1 million, and then but you know through the years the city has kind of you know you've had some people going back in,
Right.
But you know after those riots in the 60s, which were you know really bad, like a lot of people left, you know, and you might get some of that again. It already looks like businesses are hurting. With the curfew this week, you're not even allowed to be open. But then when people are open, from what I've heard from people who have businesses downtown, that there's practically nobody in there. Like a lot of people are going to think twice before they go downtown now.
Yeah, I mean, everyone I told that I was going downtown on Friday, they were like, "What? What are you doing? Are you serious? Are you crazy?" You know, I was like, you know, I have a buddy that lives down there. It's not that bad. I mean,
Yeah,
But
I mean,
not bad at all.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, exactly. But the thing is, it's the idea.
Yeah, dude, think about it. If the riots were extinguished on Monday, you know,
Right.
like right away when they first happened, when the first bricks were thrown, you know, you wouldn't have had to have martial law in the National Guard on Tuesday.
Right. Exactly.
You know, and I think that's like directly her fucking fault.
Yeah. Totally.
And you know, who knows like how many? I mean, this is gonna have a lasting effect on the economy of the city.
Yeah.
But there could be the opposite effect too. You know, there could be the opposite effect in that all of a sudden you're going to get a lot of people getting grants now to rebuild and donations coming in.
Getting grants by who?
The government.
Oh, well, that's broken window fallacy there. You know, I mean,
I'm not saying it. No.
Yeah,
I'm not
necessarily-
supporting it.
Well, yeah,
but I'm
it's-
saying that that money will come.
Yeah, but I mean, at the expense of who?
Of course, who do you think it's going to expense of? Us.
exactly, you
Where's it
know?
always come from?
So,
But I'm saying in terms of businesses, I don't think you're going to have a bunch of businesses closing down. But they're going to be hurting for sure. I mean, a lot of people are losing a lot of money.
no, I mean, dude, it's a tough economy in the first place, man. We've been in a recession since 2007, you know, and it's. You know, who's to say it's going to get any better anytime soon, just as far as that goes. And then when you put this on top of it, you know, you've got businesses that were already struggling in the first place, and then now they're even hurting more.
Which businesses are you talking about? Down where the riots were or outside of the
It's
riots?
businesses everywhere, man. The economy is still in a recession.
Look, listen, I'm in downtown. Those restaurants have no problem. Every day when they're open, it's a line out the door. They're putting in new restaurants all the time. It was when they had the National Guard down there. Yeah, there was hardly anybody downtown because a lot of people weren't even coming into work.
I mean,
but people are coming back to work now. They're going back in the
I
restaurants.
think there's a chance that it will just blow over, but
we'll see how it goes, man.
It's a bigger picture
talk about it in
too.
6 months.
It's a bigger
Yeah.
picture too. I mean, going back, 10, 20 years, even further, really. I mean, Baltimore was once a big blue collar town. We had a lot of ports. We don't have that anymore. Baltimore's trying to be the service industry hub. You can't. That's not sustainable, and because there's not enough regular jobs here. I mean, there's plenty of service jobs. What do you have outside of that?
Right.
I mean, if the biotech hub keeps growing, that could be something really good, and the tech hub could keep growing. That'd be really good. But again, Maryland has some really, really prohibitive tax policies, which make it really hard for any company to even want to come here. I mean, why would you come here when you can go to plenty of other states or cities in this country where you're going to get treated a lot better? You don't have the tax burden that you have here. So I mean, Baltimore is kind of in a tough spot right now.
that's a good point. Yeah. What else we got on the menu?
We had all this great stuff to talk about. Right? All we did was talk about drugs.
Drugs. Well, it needs to be talked about, man.
It does. It does. I actually want at some point tonight when we finish up, I want to. There's last year I was invited out to Texas to play on this album with this band called Celebrity Sex Scandal, which was put together by the founding guitarist of Dog Fashion Disco, of which I was a member for many years. He's out in San Antonio now. He's in this other band. And he invited me out last year to play keys on the album, and it just came out. So at some point tonight, I'd like to play a track and make people listen to a song that one of the songs that I like on the album.
Yeah,
and if you don't like
we,
it,
we can plug it in. At
you
the
can
end,
tell me
right?
that I suck
we
or whatever.
We can just plug that in right now.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Here it is, guys. So what's the name of the song? The artist?
This will be, and it's not like a lot of stuff isn't really like very punk related. It's got some kind of cool punk riffs in it. This song is called "Drowning with My Friends," and the band is Celebrity Sex Scandal.
Sweet.
Good night.